It's not very often in a coaching session where I don't get to say to somebody, you know what, there's not enough fun in your life. So I recommend to most people that what you've got to do is you've got to find more play. You've got to become more playful. In other words, there needs to be more play in your life. Too many of us work too hard for too long and we don't get what it is that we want, because you see, we say, okay, well, I'll work this hard and I'll pay the mortgage off, and then I'll be happy when I've paid the mortgage off. The trouble is, during the 25 years you're paying the mortgage off, you learn to delay happiness until that event happens, or delay happiness until the kids get in school or out of school or whatever. So that whole idea of I'll be happy when forces us to say happiness comes later, and what I've got left now is work. And work is not so much work, but seriousness. If you look at kids, you'll see that it's totally the opposite. And so find yourself your odd 2 or 3 or 4-year-old and say to them, what do you want to do? And the answer is going to be play. And we say, what do you want to play? And they look around, and the first thing they see is the puzzles, and they go, let's play puzzles. So we play puzzles with them for a while until they get bored, and then we say, what do you want to do now? And they look around and they go, swings. And so we play on the swings, and we play on this and that and the other, and then we move from one thing to another as they get bored. Sometimes we can go back to some of those things, and eventually they'll say eat, because they get hungry. Children tend to not eat on schedule. They tend to eat when they get bored, or when they've run out of things to do, or they're so engrossed in playing that eating kind of gets forgotten. I'm sure you've had times in your life where you got so engrossed in a project that you forgot to eat. What a great way to organise your life in terms of your nutrition, because what it means is you also focus on what you're doing, that your body's taking care of itself, and maybe you can metabolise a bit of fat into energy, and everything is going to be great. The odd missed meal is probably a good thing. So the kids go from play to eat to play to sleep to eat to play, and that's what they do. Ask any kid and that's what you're going to see. But we've been taught to be serious because of the reasons that I talked about before, and that is the delaying of happiness until later on. So I reckon we've got to retrain ourselves to play. And what I meant by what I said before was that it's a rare client where I don't have to lay out to them, okay, what are you going to do for you? Where is your me time? And what are you going to do that has no actual productivity in it, because it's about playing? If you're going to get in a boat and sail it, and you're leaving from here, you're probably going to come back to here, because if your boat came off a trailer and you put it in the water, then you're going to go sailing and you're going to come back to here and put it on the thing. And most people say it's like running around the block. Why would you do that when you've got a car? So the seriousness that we get involved in stops us from seeing that there are many things that would be good for us to do just for the joy of doing them. And interesting enough, when you get into those things, they provide their own reward instantly. And you know what it's like, if my wife and I are in the habit of going for a walk in the afternoons. We live out in the country, and it's only an hour, it's a few k's out, a few k's back. But that hour of being in nature, being by ourselves, conversation just happening whenever it does, not having to be in a conversation, and feeling connection, that's what we live our day for. That's kind of like the reward. That's ridiculous when you think about it. So what we have to do is figure out how to bring playfulness into our day. And so I'm going to suggest that what you do is you get your to-do list. So the list of things you've got to do today or this week or whatever it is. Look at that list and say to yourself, how do I make this fun? Which parts of this could I make into fun? Which parts can I turn into an adventure? How do I play at this work rather than work at this work? Because every hour that you exchange is gone. So we exchange it for money, or we exchange it for productivity, or we exchange it for whatever, but that hour's gone. So if you don't get something from it, and I'm going to suggest you getting money for it's a very, very poor reward. What we've got to get is success and warmth and love and connection and things that make us feel alive as a human being. So I'm going to give you a few examples of things that I've noticed I've gone through my working career that I've worked in terms of playfulness. Once upon a time, I went to a party that was organised by one of the fellow school teachers in the high school that I taught in. And what this guy did was, rather than send an invitation to the party, and he could have just actually gone around and asked us, but instead of that, he decided on an invitation. But rather than writing out an invitation on an invitation kind of a thing and posting it, what he did was he worked out how to use the the sign language signals. So people who are deaf talk to each other with signals, right? And so what he did was he worked out, got an alphabet, and if this is a symbol for B and this is a symbol for C, then he got pictures for that. He traced them, and he got those symbols and he drew them on a piece of paper. So you had to get your key to that and say, all right, so the first letter in this sequence of hands is B, and then the next letter is L, and then the next letter is A, and we had to interpret the invitation by working out how to use sign language using a key that he'd provided for us. When you think about it, he could have just said, you want to come around my place, we'll have a few drinks. That would be simple, that would be easy. But we all turned up with a sense of excitement because of the effort that he'd put in. That was a great party. How come? Because it was playful. It was playful before it even started, because people were spending all night talking to each other in this sign language that we'd started to learn because we'd had to learn it to figure out how to get to the party. One time earlier in my life, I wanted to donate some money to my sister who was studying, and she refused to accept any gifts. And so Mary and I started getting small amounts of money. And when somebody was going overseas, we'd say, hey, when you get to Los Angeles, could you convert this into US dollars, put it in this envelope, seal it and post it? And we'd addressed it to my sister's house. And when there was someone going to England or Hong Kong, same kind of thing. And so we had fantastic adventure seeing how inventive we could be and how we could play at this game of sending money to my sister, who was able to accept it when it came anonymously through the mail, but couldn't accept it if it came from me. Work that one out. So we've all got these mindsets we've got to struggle with, but we're able to turn it into a game. That game went on for a couple of years because the more we did it, the more we saw her turning herself inside out, trying to work out who was sending the money. And that was, it was a fantastic adventure to be sitting in her lounge room when she'd be saying, it's you, I know it's you. And we go, what? And she'd go, you sent me money. We go, what are you talking about? She'd go, money came in the mail. So, we had heaps of fun doing that kind of thing. I was at a conference on Sydney Harbour not too long ago where a bunch of property people were talking and, talking about what they're doing in property and building their own property, either renovation or development business. Lots of beautiful houses on the harbour. So they'd worked out, they just gone to RP Data and they'd got information on how much houses had sold for, and they ran a competition. Can you guess how much that house sold for? Can you guess who lives in that house? That kind of thing. It was just a way to make entertainment. These are things that we need to learn to do because we don't have the 2.5-year-old idea about we could just play at anything. And I got a video this morning of my 2.5-year-old swinging on a swing without needing the swing. She's worked out that the bar that holds the stands up, you can swing on that. Just delightful because her mum said, you're really strong. And to hear that little 2.5-year-old voice go, me really strong. I was delighted, she's having an adventure, just playing. One last thing, if you really want to play and you want to put yourself through the hoops and have a bit of a terrifying experience as well at the same time, don't try bungee jumping. Try grabbing some cash, putting it in your hand, winding the window down in your car, put your hand out the window and see if you can let it go. That could be a very adventurous kind of play because that could teach you about how you value money and whether it rules you or not. When you think about what I'm saying have more fun. We all need more fun. Really, if you spend the 70 or 80 or 90 years that you're here on the planet and you're not having fun, well, that's a bit of a disaster and that's your problem to deal with, all right? Whose fault is it? So when I say have more fun, that's great because there's more fun in your life. But there's something else that goes on there because the real benefit is not fun. The real benefit is that to be having fun, you have to be present. So whether you're playing a board game, whether you're playing charades, whatever it is, the real benefit in the game is that you are present in the current moment, doing whatever we're doing that's in this game. At this point, your business life is non-existent, your kids don't happen to be around or not part of your consciousness, your profession doesn't matter, all those, you just come into the moment. What that does is it means that you're aware. We're all a lot smarter when we're more relaxed, and if you're having fun, the chances are you're more relaxed. You'll be more alive. And as you're more alive and you're more vibrant, you're actually turning up in your life, you actually are more fun to be around as well. So you start to influence the other people. So I'm saying have more fun because you deserve it, and really that's what we're here on the planet to do, is make fun a big component of what we're doing. But happiness can be a bit of a surface issue. What I'm saying is if you address that playfulness and that happiness, what you'll actually get, besides being present more often and being more aware and alive, what you'll actually get is strong feelings of contentment and fulfillment, and like life is good.